Paris Corner is a little bit of a problem. They have gone out of their way to replicate, duplicate, dupe a bunch of these viral designer and niche fragrances, putting them out for a fraction of the cost, and they keep telling us that the fragrances hit and we don't need to buy the expensive versions. Now, I don't know if I all the way believe them, so I went on a little bit of a shopping spree, picking up a bunch of Paris Corner dupe fragrances, and I have the tea for you for some of their most popular and viral fragrances. I'm talking dupes of Kayali fragrances and Charosa 62 and then some. I have 9 to 10 fragrances in this video that I want to talk about. If you are interested in affordable fragrances and Paris Corner fragrances specifically because you don't look down on dupe fragrances like I don't look down on dupe fragrances, stick around and let's get into it. I can tell with something I gon' get what's meant for ya. All my love is on the line and it's up to ya. Hi, I'm Jeanique, and I don't discriminate when it comes to fragrances. As long as it smells good, makes me feel like my best self, I don't care what the price point is, cheap, expensive. The only question that really matters when it comes down to it is, does it hit or not? And a lot of these fragrances hit the mark for me and then some, and I want to share them with you. So I have a bunch of Paris Corner fragrances in this video, some originals, mostly dupes, and one from Fragrance World. Now, spoiler alert, a lot of the fragrances in this video are from the Khair line, which is them duping Kayali fragrances. Sorry to Kayali, it is what it is, because the performance on a lot of these Kayali fragrances don't warrant the price. I sometimes go for them anyway, but I want to share these fragrances just in case you're looking for affordable versions of some of these popular designer and niche fragrances, because I have them and I might as well talk about them. So if you love a perfumey conversation you think I'm a vibe, go ahead and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And if you've already subscribed, you're a real one. Thank you so much for being here and doing this haul video with me where I share all of these fragrances with you. Without further ado, let's get into my review ranking discussion of these fragrances that I picked up from Paris Corner, because some are love, some are likes, and some are mid AF. Let's get into it. So I'm not even gonna hold you. We're gonna start off with the Khair line because that's probably the one you're most interested in, as I tell you which of these I think are worth replacing the original and which I don't think come close to the original. Khair Pistachio. So this is a dupe of Yum Pistachio Gelato from Kayali. It is nice. It is a nice fragrance, especially for the price. So if you like Yum Pistachio, this is a nice option. I would say this is about 70% of the original fragrance as far as how close it comes. There is a main missing element here that I want to talk to y'all about. Now, one of my favorite things about Yum Pistachio, and I love me some Yum Pistachio, I know it's not for everybody, especially based on the name, and some people felt a little bit gaslit and bamboozled by the name of that fragrance because it wasn't quite gourmand enough. I find it to be this perfect marriage between a creamy gourmand, this ice creamy sweet pistachio smell with florals. These white florals that are robust and assertive, and they come together in a way that I think is perfect for somebody who loves florals and gourmands or vanillas equally. It is a beautiful marriage that I think we don't get often enough, right? So when I picked up this fragrance, I thought it was going to give that. But this fragrance eases way back on the floral and pushes harder on the sweeter, fruity, gourmand elements from the original. Now, like I said, that original fragrance is a little bit controversial because one of the main criticisms people give about that fragrance is that it is too floral. Based on the name, they weren't expecting such a floral fragrance, and they felt like they wanted the ice cream and the pistachio and the vanilla ratcheted all the way up to meet their expectations. And I feel like Paris Corner heard that complaint and gave us that with this fragrance. But between you and I wanted more floral personally. It's not heavy enough, it's not thick enough, it's not weighty enough for me based on my expectations. This is so much more lighthearted, easygoing daytime that I will get use out of this, I will enjoy this, but it isn't close enough to the original to replace the original as like a fragrance I would like to add to my collection. This next one, Khair Fusion, which is a dupe of Kayali Eden Sparkling Lychee, is closer to the original than Pistachio was to its original. So I'd say if that one's about a 70%, this is about an 80%. I think some of the changes they made here are successful. I don't think I necessarily needed them based on my own fragrance preferences, but I do prefer this one to the last one, basically. So what is this fragrance? So Eden Sparkling Lychee is, on the face of it, this very tart opening, this sort of lychee sweetness, fresh, just a little bit of sourness from Italian, I think bergamot. There are some floral elements that feel cleaner in this fragrance. It almost feels like a very young rose, but I don't think it is. I think it's something like a very clean jasmine, and then it has some woody elements. It's a beautiful and fun, easygoing combination for everyday wear. This fragrance takes out some of those sharper, more sour, more controversial elements and makes this a little bit easier to play with. So I will say I don't mind that choice. I enjoy Eden Sparkling Lychee a lot. I'm not obsessed. And so having a slightly more approachable version that's a little bit sweeter, I am not mad at it. The floral in here is really restrained. Everything is kind of subtle. There is that sweetness, there is that tartness, but it isn't as assertive or aggressive as the original. I think it takes some of the fun out of it because I do like a fragrance that pushes. I am a perfume maximalist after all, and this fragrance just plays a little bit too safe. For the price, I think it does a good job. I don't now need the original. I am okay with having this instead of that. The best of the three that I have personally, it isn't even close, y'all. It isn't even close. It is Khair Confection. Now, this is a dupe of Vanilla Candy Rock Sugar, the Marshmallow Ton Up, the florals, not too overwhelming. There is some woodiness in here that comes through. The jasmine is good in here. It's not too soapy. It's not too green. It's not too heavy. It's not too indolic. It is nice in here. But this is the most addictive. This I would recommend to anybody who loves a sweeter, candy adjacent, marshmallowy type fragrance. It is fun. It is bright. It is happy. It is a good time, good mood fragrance. I would say this comes up to about 90% of the original. I would say the original is sweeter than this, but this one dials it back just a touch, not a lot, not enough to change the vibe of this fragrance. Getting more of that fruitiness here, so you're getting like a fruity sweetness versus like a straight marshmallowy sweetness or a candy rock sweetness, but it's still a super fun fragrance that comes very, very close to the original. I would also say this performs better than the original for me personally. I find the original disappears about 4 hours. I'll get about 6 hours from this. I'll wear it to work because sometimes that's the vibe I'm trying to give. And it lasts me most of the day. I maybe do a top up after lunch at some point. But the performance on this I find to be slightly better than the original. And for the price and how similar it is to the original, I think of the three of them, this is the most successful of all of them by a long shot. So ranking the Khair fragrances for me personally, it's Confection, then Fusion, then Pistachio personally. And what's interesting, funny, or maybe, I don't know, predictable, it's the opposite in terms of preferences from the originals. Out of the original fragrances, my favorite is Yum Pistachio, then Eden Sparkling Lychee, then Vanilla Candy Rock Sugar, which I think is kind of funny. So it might be just that my standards are higher when I love the fragrance more, or it's just that they really just did not get it close enough for me to get more excited. Have you subscribed yet? Because I know you wanted me to remind you. You're welcome. Now let's get back to the video. The next two I want to get into are these two bad boys here. No, this is Juicy Milange and this is Mango Skin. This is supposed to be an original fragrance from Paris Corner. Fruity, odd fruity. fruity adjacent. It's a little weird. We're going to talk about it. And this is supposed to be a dupe of Wilhelm's Mango Skin. So the original Mango Skin, part of what makes it so controversial is that it leans into the green elements of the mango heavy. So you do have the mango flesh sweetness and thickness, but you also have this very pronounced greenness that not everybody loves. Now, I love the original Mango Skin. I did a video where I reviewed it. It was for my Scent Expedition series where I test a bunch of samples. It was one of them, and I loved that fragrance because I love a green scent. This fragrance plays a lot nicer than that one. A lot of those greener elements are stripped away. So instead of like a leafy greenness or a mango skin greenness like we get with the original Wilhelm Mango Skin, closer to like a jasmine greenness, this sort of a clean greenness versus a very sort of rich, dark, earthy greenness. It plays better, it's more approachable, it's not as controversial. The sort of mango flesh sweetness and heaviness is stripped back, and this fragrance is significantly lighter. There are notes like iris that add a slight bit of powderiness. This is a more approachable version of a greener mango fragrance than the original. So I am not mad at this at all. I do love Wilhelm's Mango Skin. I don't think this is necessarily the best replacement for that fragrance, but it is a nice, easygoing mango fragrance that I think is really approachable. It's a nice entry-level greener mango fragrance. If you want to explore that scent profile, it is a fun-ass fragrance in a fun-ass bottle, and I very much like it. Now, I think it is so much easier to get into this fragrance than to get into this one. This is Juicy Milange, right? The main standout floral note, in my opinion, is a moderate rose. It's not a young, fresh rose for people who don't really like rose, right? This is a rose that asserts itself, and you know it's a rose fragrance. Like, it stands out to me. There's definitely some purple fruit like plum in here that feel really sweet and juicy. But the thing that stands out the most here is they threw in a basil note, y'all. There is this like savory element to this fragrance, which is really unexpected because why? But also okay, I'm not mad at it. It's very different, and I think kind of interesting and fun. So this isn't the easiest fragrance to recommend because I think there are so many elements in here people might genuinely dislike. Also, the base notes aren't any more predictable because we have some odd things, not odd, we have some interesting choices in the base that make it kind of interesting as well. We have musk, for example. So there's a fairly watery green element to this fragrance, but there is a darkness and a little bit of a smokiness to this fragrance that you do not see coming. Again, you're like, why? But also, thank you. I think I'm into that. And it makes this fragrance feel really mysterious and kind of interesting. There is some tonka, some coconut for creaminess. They've thrown so much random shit in here. You're like, should it work? I don't know, but I like it. It's a fun daytime festival type fragrance for our avant-garde girlies who want to do it on a budget, basically. So that's where we are. I don't know who I recommend this to, but I'm gonna wear it down. When I'm outside and living my flower child life, I'm gonna wear this smelling like basil, moss, and coconuts. Like, what more could I ask for? Really unexpected, this one. I think when I first tried it, I was like, no, I don't know how I feel about that. That basil threw me all the way off, but the more I wear this fragrance, the more I get into it, I'm like, okay, I can wear a savory element on my body and not scoff at it. So if you like a more unusual take on fruity rose fragrances with a little bit of greenness and smokiness, weird, right? Then this might be for you. So between these two, I think this is the easier sell. I think this is the more interesting of the two. If I were to rebuy tomorrow, I'd go with this one in a heartbeat, even though my first impression of this fragrance didn't make me believe I'd head in that direction. I was a little bit salty when I first tried it. Now, less salty, more into it. The next two Paris corner fragrances that I want to talk about are these babies. This is Minia, which is the original. Let's call it Minia Green. That's what I'm calling it. And this is Minia Cocoa. So these, I don't know how they ended up in the same line. I'm going to chalk it up to vacation, holiday in the tropics scent. That is the theme, the idea, the concept, I believe, around these two fragrances, because they very much give vacation vibes. I'm gonna start off with the original and the more loved of the two. This is a dupe of Cheirosa 62, y'all. That beautiful vanilla, pistachio, caramel, body splash we all know and love. It smells exactly the same, y'all. I mean, I love me some Cheirosa 62. I say wearing that body splash, I haven't bought it in a while because body splash don't be lasting like that. I still have a little bit. But this is a nice replacement. So if you love Cheirosa 62 and you want a EDP version that is not very expensive, EDP version that still don't have good longevity, even though it's on EDP, we're not gonna hate, but we just gonna point it out. If you want a better quality, better performing version of Cheirosa 62, you love you some caramel, vanilla, nuttiness, this is it. This is an everyday scent. This is a base scent. You come out of the shower, you put this on, and then everything goes over top because this goes with everything. Minia Cocoa. This is a coconut milk heavy fragrance. You get that lactonic element, those coconut sort of notes. It's not quite a gourmand coconut that feels desserty, and it isn't quite like that suntan lotiony coconut. It is very much a coconut milk type smell, reminiscent of things like Philosophy, Fresh Cream Warm Cashmere. Very reminiscent of that. Here's the thing though. It has this really heavy freesia note. This is jasmine and freesia. I think it mostly comes across as like a freesia heavy fragrance as the main floral in here. There is a cleanness, soapiness, freshness to the fragrance that makes it feel less warm, less cozy, and makes it feel like a more daytime fragrance. I wish they'd gone the cozy direction. Personally, I wish they'd leaned into the thickness, creaminess of that coconut just a little bit more, but I can't have everything. I can't win at all the things. The main fruit note in here, I say it's a very sweet pear. They say there's raspberry. I don't get raspberry at all. I would say in the base we have a nice clean white musk. There's some ambroxan for a little bit of heaviness to this fragrance. So do I say this is mid? Absolutely. This is, we don't need this. I have it, I'm gonna wear it, but this is not a need. This is a choice. I would have made a different choice if I was making the choice today, tomorrow, whatever. Is a blind buy. That didn't quite go wrong because it smelled nice, but I would have made some different choices because my expectations weren't quite met based on the, I don't know, the marketing of this fragrance. It's a little too freesia-esque for me. I could have done without that, but it's nice. It's not bad. It's fine. It's fine. The last two we're going to talk about is Paris Coroner December Vanilla. We're going to do Fragrance World Barakat Amber Eve. So this is December Vanilla. This is a dupe of Kayali Vanilla Royal Sugar Patchouli. I think that's the fragrance. It came out like 2, maybe 3 years ago. It was a little bit of a controversial release because I think people expected something closer to Vanilla 28 and didn't quite get that. This is a far more different vanilla. There is oud, there is agar wood, there's a heavy dose of patchouli, there is liquor in here in the form of rum. Vanilla in there, but is that really what's driving what's happening in here? It's, you know, it's debatable. No, I never tried the original ever. I still haven't tried it. I don't know what it smells like. So I can't tell you if this is close to the original or not. What I can tell you is it smells nice. I don't feel like it smells every day nice. There are elements of this fragrance that I knew would be a challenge for me. There are a lot of warm spices. The cinnamon, the nutmeg of it all is heavy in this. And I don't always love me a warm spice. It is also very thick. It feels like a latte of some kind, where it's kind of dark and thick and heavy, and it's creamy, it is rich, it's not too sweet. I wish it was slightly sweeter, but the sweetness isn't in here as much. There isn't a dirty patchouli, but the patchouli note does come through in here, and the rum is doing a lot of work. It's doing a lot of work in this fragrance. I think it smells really sophisticated. It smells really good. I think it's well done. The longevity is solid. I do think this is a fall winter fragrance. December Vanilla is all the way right with the name because it's a December vanilla. When you have all that cold to contend with, I think this would hit the mark very, very easily. Happy with this one because it isn't really like a lot of fragrances that I have because I tend to avoid oud, agarwood, and warm spices. And this has all of that. Look at me like growing as a perfume content creator. You're welcome. So this right here is Barakat Ambery from Fragrance World. This is a dupe of MFK, Maison Francis Kurkdjian's Grand Soir. Now, that fragrance I reviewed in another Scent Expedition video where I was comparing a bunch of warm vanillas like Baby Cat and this one and others. I will link that video. You're welcome. I fell in love with this fragrance, even though this isn't a scent profile I tend to go for. These aren't that different, y'all. This is a lighter, cleaner, airier, not as thick and creamy as this one. This is sweeter than this one. This feels and reads more unisex. This feels more elevated, less cozy to me. I would wear this to work and feel like a bad bitch. I would feel like a professional. Like that is the vibe, a rich professional. Like this feels really good to me. Now, how does this compare to the original fragrance? It's not as good. I think this feels a little boozier, heavier, and darker, making it more of a nighttime fragrance that you could make work for daytime. So I think as an alternative to the very expensive Grand Soir, I think this is a nice alternative if you're not obsessed with the original, but you like that scent profile. I think this hits all the marks in the best way possible without coming with the same price tag. So I'm very happy with this fragrance. I think it's a really great quality fragrance. I'm not always obsessed with the quality of Fragrance World fragrances. I think a lot of them go left real easy on the skin. I think this is one of their most successful. I also love that the bottle is unapologetically just like the MFK fragrances. From afar, you can't tell the difference. And I really enjoy this one because I'm not going to buy the original. Their MFK fragrances I like significantly more than Grand Soir. I love it. I like it. I enjoy it. But there are others that I would spring for first. So in the meantime, between time, I'm going to go with the dupe. And I have no regrets. This was a good buy. If I had to pick between these two, it'd be this one. So those were all 9 fragrances I wanted to share with you today. Not all of them are quite dupes, but all of them are from dupe brands. And I think these were successful blind buys for me personally, and affordable, successful blind buys to like top things off. So I'm really happy with this, and I hope you enjoyed watching me talk about these fragrances, and hopefully you've had some questions answered in this video if you're thinking about some of these. Thank you so much for watching this video, checking me out today. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so. If you've already subscribed, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you. Again, I'm Jeanique, a connoisseur of these affordable fragrances. I'm gonna find the great ones, the good ones, the mid ones, the trash, and I'm gonna put you on game every single time. Thank you for being here today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.
I had your back, but you just proved me wrong. You proved me wrong, you proved it. Then everything unfolded,